in the Canadian city of Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world outside of Paris. And tonight, we're in town for the Party Poker Premier League. This uniquely structured tournament draws in the very best poker players in the world. And for Season 7, we've invited some of the most exciting names in the game. The Premier League crown is high on their agenda, but who will take it down?
In Heat 1, Premier League newbie Jeff Gross won all the chips, taking down the maximum 14 points. Heat 2 saw Scott Seaver and Jason Koon go heads up, both desperate for points. Koon took it down. The win moved him to the top of the league. Heat 3 got off to a flyer with another star lineup. Locke, always the entertainer, found himself in a tough spot with queens against ace-king. With Koon all in, Locke was put to the test. Calling puts his league status on the line. Folding keeps him in with a chance of laddering points.
I have to make the right decision, right?
Locke was left wondering, what if? Vanessa Selbst was the other low stack, small pairs becoming a thorn in her side. Threes against aces this time added to her woes and handed Locke a much-needed boost. But it was a short-lived one, as Locke and Mizzi found themselves both with ace-king. It all went in. The percentages said split pot.
He's slow rolling the chop. Correct.
But the flop brought a backdoor flush draw for Mizzi.
I deserve to lose. Bring it on, 3 of clubs. I gotta be ready to hug you. It's feeling clubby.
Sorel called it. The flush came on the river, and Locke was left with nothing but the bagel. 0 points, a disaster for Locke, as he takes 3 from 2 heats. For Mizzi, it's a commanding lead. Not much between Jeff Gross, Dan Shak, Jonathan Duhamel, and Jason Koon, whilst Dan Colman and Vanessa Selbst need to change gears. Here is a reminder of the current league standings. Those highlighted are in play, and with a maximum 14 points awarded to the winner, they are all looking to advance up the table. However, it is Vanessa Selbst and Dan Shak who are in the elimination zone and need the biggest result tonight to keep in contention. Whilst those with a healthier count can play with more freedom and should be applying pressure on those who are most vulnerable. Joining me for all the action of Heat 3 is Premier League debutant Brian Rast.
And here's Gross.
35,000. Fold.
He waited,
Fold.
and he found the ace-7 offsuit. He's ready to make his move. Tight, aggressive style.
Yeah, and he's done it with a lot of players behind him. I guess that makes it look stronger, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's what he's thinking, I think. Let's see what Duhamel does.
I was going to say that Duhamel is a peeler, but almost never out of position.
Wow.
Oh, he just smashed this. And Gross has gotten a little unlucky here, actually. I mean, he is ahead.
Knowing Jeff Gross, I think he'll check this back. And, wow, it looks like he's going to bet. I don't like this bet, and I'm actually surprised to see Jeff make it because he very much has played pot control so far. Now he's going to get blown off this hand. I mean, Duhamel, I can't imagine a world where Duhamel check calls this. And wow, Duhamel, I don't like. I can't say I like the way Duhamel's played this hand so far. I mean, I think this is just a spot where you have to be willing to play for your stack. I've been pretty confused by the play by both players on this hand.
And does Gross sort of know where he's at, or does he have absolutely no idea where he's at?
I think Gross is in a spot right there where after the 9 pairs, I don't think he really thinks he's bluffing out many hands. I mean, he has a hand that has some value, so he's just trying to get to showdown. If Duhamel bets, I think Jeff is going to think, well, I mean, Duhamel's not really going to bet a queen here, and he'd only bet a 9 or a flush, and he might bluff some of his missed straight draws. So Jeff is going to think about calling.
Also, if he really thinks about it, like you said, you would have expected Duhamel to check raise, you know, to give action, a lot of action on the flop with the flush draw. And also, where's he getting the 9 from? I mean, where the heck is he getting the 9 from?
All right, he makes a good fold.
My instinct was to push it in.
Yeah, and Jonathan Duhamel, one thing you can say for sure is he's made a lot of very, very unorthodox plays in this Premier League so far.
Yeah, so I think, see, the thing about it is Duhamel kind of had to like make his hand to win that pot. If he had just raised the flop, he would have gotten Jeff to fold the best hand and just taken it down. I mean, Jeff's not continuing to a raise with a7 there.
I wasn't calling. I was gonna shove all in or fold.
Duhamel up to about 450,000, and Sorel obviously still the chip leader. Fifth out of 7 for Jeff Gross. Oh, he's been there before.
No one knows who you're like.
I wouldn't be able to grind as hard.
So decision time for Vanessa Selbst. Pocket 4s, 25 big blinds under the gun. And look at that. That is the first small pair fold that Vanessa Selbst has made, I think, in the Premier League. And she really had to. She really had to.
14,000.
She couldn't raise, call it off.
Just talking
and she didn't want to get
called.
called.
That's all you say, just like weird.
She's going to have to pick up chips somehow. It looks like Vanessa has decided right now that she's going to get her chips by reshoving, and not by opening pots.
She is going to jam. Four hands until the blinds go 4 and 8,000, and then she is going to jam.
Yeah. Well, we have a little pot here, some clubs, and it looks like you're going to bring Mizzi along.
Call 14,000.
There's some words in Russian too.
Yeah, and it's such a role reversal now with Duhamel having twice as many chips as Koon. And that'll worry Jason a little bit. Duhamel's, you know, he's not only got chips, he's got points. Not a lot of them, but 9 through 1 heat is above average.
Check.
So Mizzi's the only one who likes this flop, but who's going to actually bet it? Duhamel might bet it now. Yeah, not surprised. They all checked it to him. He's got 2 overs that are probably good if he hits, plus backdoor clubs. I mean, if Mizzi's going to play the 6-5 offsuit here, you're going to hit a flop like this, he's not going to fold it. I mean, I think what Mizzi's thinking about there is kind of whether to call or raise, because his hand, you know, Duhamel's range here is like he could have anything. So when he's check calling out of position, almost any card that doesn't improve his hand could potentially improve Duhamel. So it's a spot where you're just going to be guessing a lot. Now, I mean, as it turns out, the deuce is about the best card that Mizzi could hope for. It didn't actually improve his hand very much, like a 6 or a 7 or something. And my guess is on a card like that, Duhamel will probably stop betting. You know, it did not change the board at all, and I don't think Duhamel's going to think he's going to get Mizzi to fold a lot. So. And so Mizzi just hit his straight and will probably bet his hand here. If you could see Duhamel's hand, though, he would check. So Mizzi's thinking for a very long time. At some point, once you've thought for too long, you almost have to bet. Because if you sit there and think for a minute and then check, it's a little suspicious. Although I guess you could do that to really fool your opponents, but not too many people do that.
Yeah, Scott Seaver's actually pretty consistent. I mean, he's probably one of the slower players, and I guess one of the reasons he's a little slower is because he almost, I guess he tries to take the same time with every decision. But yeah, it can be. Is it a little bit frustrating for some of the players when a guy plays like that, a little slow? Is it?
Yeah, it can be. It can be frustrating if somebody's very, very slow. I mean, there are a couple guys. I mean, there was a time when Doc Sands played like so slow, and it was just so annoying being at his table. But actually, I feel like he's definitely gotten a lot faster since then. But I mean, when guys just take a long time, especially in like relatively routine spots, it's a little disrespectful for sure to everyone else at the table.
That's all I keep hearing is fold, fold, fold.
He's needling Vanessa.
And then on the raises, you don't even say raise. You don't even have the courtesy to say raise on your raises. It's like you're just tricking us.
This is certainly turning into the Sorel Mizzi show here at the Playground Poker Club. This Premier League Heat 3 continues after the break.
You brought the monkey out in me because you're such a monkey.
Every once in a while, you gotta pull out the monkey.
Wow.
It's no fun without a sweat.
Shak attack.
I get you a beer if you're full.
Ooh, I call.
Welcome back. Season 7 features a thrilling lineup, and we're being treated to some exciting poker. Your commentators are Jessie May and Brian Rast.
We are 60 hands into this third heat, and so far, Phil Locke has been knocked out, meaning he leaves with 0 points. However, for Sorel Mizzi, he is in a commanding lead with nearly 700,000 chips. Before the break, Jonathan Duhamel made a leap up the leaderboard. But for the rest, there isn't much between them. Vanessa Selbst, however, looks like she is struggling at the bottom. She really needs a good result today, as she is currently in the elimination zone with just 1 point after playing 1 heat. Dan Shak is also in the elimination zone after 1 heat and will also be looking to advance out of the danger zone. So far, we haven't seen much from last season's winner. It might be time for him to get into the mix.
Oh, there we go, Dan. Things are going a little better. He's ready to gamble up on the 9-7.
Yeah. 4 players.
Yeah. 6 points extra. Playing so well that one big blind stack.
Wow. So he has the best hand, but will he win the spot?
We're already at 4-8.
Gross has 2 overs and spades, so he's definitely going to bet at least once.
And do you see bet here if you're Colman?
Crazy.
I think he will. I mean, it's a pretty nothing board. It's very unlikely anyone has a deuce, and so if you're also in a spot where sometimes in 4-way pots like this, maybe the person who's to your immediate left may or may not fold if just because there's 2 people behind them left to act.
I mean, it feels like when Jeff Gross calls there that, you know, there's people 7 states away who know he has a flush draw.
I mean, his range is strong. His range is probably like 7s plus or spades.
Let's say we play in the Olympics.
Colman's a little bit unpredictable and definitely willing to try things. So Colman might barrel, but he probably won't. It really does depend on the turn card, I think. There might be a few turn cards he might try. Like he might try on a king, for example. Although that would actually be a good card for Jeff. Oh, let's see.
Psychic.
Like people would start saying that, oh boy, like we
well said.
45,000.
All right, no, now it's psychic. Before, the king, that was just lucky.
Oh, I see you differentiate, you know.
6 years old.
Between lucky and good.
And they told him to take a couple years out.
So the play for Jeff is just a flat though, still, because why would you raise? I mean,
there's no reason to raise. It's a spot where he's either way ahead or way behind, and he still has a draw. So here's the thing. It's very interesting. Is that usually in these spots with normal bet sizing, you would think like flush draws are going to fold on the turn. So he could have been setting that small bet up in order to barrel the river, because he bet so small. But now with this spade coming,
he's going to be done.
The spade coming, I don't think he could be sure that Gross would have folded the spade. So Colman could have been setting it up in order to barrel non-spades, which is an unorthodox and interesting play.
Check.
Wow.
Wow, really?
I have it, but
It's high quick kicker.
Let's see this look on people's faces.
Look at Jason Koon. He went full furrow.
you want to see my cards? What's he gonna call it?
I feel bad to say this, but that is very bad play. I mean, you have to value bet there.
In case Colman has ace king. I mean,
ace king, queens. I mean, you're just not beat often enough. You know, it's sort of like almost it doesn't matter. You just have the best hand way too often. I mean, you just bet if you get check raised at that point, you just figure it out. Then you probably don't fold.
I mean, you make a bad fold because I had the one hand that I say if I look at it, I'm going to 3-bet. And the rest
I mean, you're just so way up towards the top of your range. You know, I mean,
was that close to when you can get a penalty for checking back the nuts? Was that?
It's pretty close.
Does he need a verbal warning?
Slightly criminal.
Any other circumstance, I'm not folding there.
And this is the guy who's
31,000.
he really he's an interesting guy, this Dan Colman.
He just loves like 10x Jack X suited, you know? I mean, like he gets those, it's like time to 3-bet. Let's see what Mizzi does. I can't see Mizzi calling here. The calling would not be a good play. I mean, this is a 4-bet or fold spot, really. Wow, and
he's going to go for the. He actually is going to go for the click 4-bet.
Well, the interesting question with the click 4-bet is, I guess Mizzi feels like if he makes the click 4-bet, he can fold to the shove.
48,000.
Is what he's thinking.
He's asked Colman the big question.
48. Call.
And this is the one downside to that click 3-bet is that the math all of a sudden overwhelmingly means he cannot pass.
Yeah.
So now.
Receiver hand yesterday is my favorite ball.
Problem solved.
Limp for 1. Check. Call 30, baby. Check. Fold for 15.
Lord almighty.
Mizzi's now thinking, man, what do I do? I mean, Colman can't really have anything because if he had like ace, jack, queen, or king, he probably would have just shipped it. So.
And yet it looks so suspicious to check.
Yeah.
There's always a way. He'll make the absolute stone cold minimum bet.
It's crazy.
He's a nutcase. He really is creative.
Wow, and
he's
Colman
a really
is
creative
calling.
guy, isn't he?
He is.
Sorel. He's a really creative guy.
Now, if Sorel's really, really in tune with the universe, he might think about checking this back.
This is high level stuff. This is beyond me, but you gotta love it. You just gotta love watching it.
It's very strong with the pot size and the fact that Colman doesn't have that much to now double barrel. There we go. Wow, Mizzi, I like the way he's playing his hand.
He's good.
What a beast.
He is good.
And now, see, now it's like, well, if I have queens or jacks, like Colman's thinking.
Yeah, he's thinking about bomb. I mean, and the play for Colman is it's a bomb or nothing, right? I mean, it's a wow. You just got dogged. He just got owned.
39,000.
He's about to get smashed.
The hammer's about to come down.
Talk about getting water from a stone. Look at what Sorel Mizzi has done here. He has wrung out an extra 50K from Dan Colman, and Colman's no slouch here.
Mizzi played the hand great. I mean,
Raise all in.
like I said on the turn, he's got to check it back. That's the play. That's the play when you min bet. Check it back. Get the river bluff.
Wow, look at Colman. He's just been smashed. That hurts.
I was a monkey there.
Well, I mean,
Yep, you kind of were a monkey there.
Phil, you're a monkey too, though. You brought the monkey out in me because you're such a monkey.
Gotta monkey around a little every once in a while.
3 levels are now in the books. Dan Shak has been the tightest player so far. All the stacks are pretty evenly distributed, but it is Mizzi who holds the chip lead with nearly 800,000 chips. He is certainly running away with this heat, and it looks like nothing can stop this Canadian.
Sorel Mizzi has really cemented himself as a mainstay at the top of the tournament world for the past 5+ years.
He is very tough, very good player, and he's had a couple good results recently.
I love the banter so much.
He knocked me out of a big tournament once before, but a little revenge to get on him.
Shak attack.
He's a sweetheart. He is probably the most huggable person in poker.
I gotta be ready to hug you.
He's also a very good poker player. Got nothing but love for the Miz.
I'm a sicko. I need a sweat, even if it's against me.
He's also very charming most of the time, but he can also be like kind of annoying and like a little bit conceited occasionally.
Ooh, I call.
I knew that he can make some big calls. Not really the kind of guy who you want to run big bluffs on.
He's also, someone that just naturally has a much tighter style than a lot of other people. So I think that's going to suit him really well in this format, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a deep run out of it.
Vanessa Selbst, only 1 point in the bag and under 15 big blinds. Dan Colman's around the 10 big blind mark.
I mean, Koon's pretty much locked himself into at least making the heads-up matches, really, at this point. I mean, 17, now he's already locked up 1, so at least 18 points. And there is a decent number of people, myself included, who are doing quite badly and they're really going to have to work to make it to 18 points.
Right.
I mean, I have 6, Phil Locke has 3, Selbst has 1, and doesn't have many chips now. You know, he's
Dan Shak's got 0 plus whatever comes out of here.
Yeah, I mean he's basically, you know, at least making the heads up.
Yeah, he's frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that I'm getting like I need to call there and win. Like,
Here we go.
Is this it? Is this really it?
It's gonna be like he just steamed it all.
Should she pull the trigger? I mean, we obviously know what Sorel has, but
you know, I think Mizzi's going to be opening a lot of buttons there. So, but
well,
I
she's
mean,
definitely ahead of his range.
It's a plus EV chip play,
right?
But you know, it might not be the right play based on waiting for Colman to go out math.
C3 call.
So I think that's what she decided.
It hurts. It definitely hurts Vanessa's Selbst.
I think it's a close play. I mean, the thing with Dan Shak and the big blind and her being short, I mean, Mizzi might be opening close to 100% of buttons. So I mean, her shove is going to show like a pretty good profit, and it's not the worst hand when called with. I mean, at least you have an ace.
18,000.
So, but I mean, Mizzi does have so many chips that he could call her pretty light there. So I think it's probably a fold with her hand.
She's just going to be just stewing at the fact that there's 3 hearts on the flop and she had the ace of hearts. It all just kind of gnaws at your stomach a little bit. Interesting line that Dan Shak's taken, obviously. Check called the flop and's led the turn here.
Yeah, Mizzi is a little curious. Picked up a pair. Wow. How good is Sorel Mizzi running right now?
I mean, is this fair? Is this
not
really
even the
fair?
8 of hearts, by the way, which is the action killer. It's like the legitimate best card in the deck.
C3 bet 30,000.
And now, I mean, Mizzi should raise here.
If he puts Dan on what he has and follows through the whole thing, it's such a sneaky little card there that if Mizzi kind of goes big here, Dan might really get his hackles up and feel like he has to call.
Yeah, so yeah, Mizzi's, you know, he's running like God.
Well, he didn't really go big here.
Yeah, I like his raise. Good. He just wanted to get paid.
You had ace. I knew you hit running 8s. God damn.
That hurts, says Dan Shak.
Wow. It was a good run out for me.
Really? And I had a feeling you hit an 8 too, but
he's running pretty pure.
Wow.
Decent, you know. I mean, when it rains, it pours for the Miz.
After the break, we return to the Playground Poker Club here in Montreal for more action from the Party Poker Premier League.
Welcome back to Party Poker Premier League action from Montreal. We're at the Playground Poker Club for heat number 3 of season 7, and action is living up to expectations. Let's get back to the table.
Nowhere to breathe, nowhere to hide, no room here. Playground Poker Club outside of Montreal, the premier poker club in all of Canada and perhaps greater North America. What does Vanessa need? What does she need to shove?
Small blinds 4.
Not much.
This might do it. Yeah, I mean, ace
C2
actually is too
re-raise
good.
all in.
Wow, Colman is sitting here thinking fold. That's what Colman's thinking.
Wow. Is Sorel supposed to raise with hands he's going to fold? Because, I mean, he's got 2 short stacks behind him.
Well, he's definitely going to call Colman.
Right.
So, because Colman's so small, I mean, if Mizzi raises, I mean, you know, Colman doesn't even have that much more.
There you go.
Miz, who can do no wrong.
One hand. That might be this. I think the second hand I want on the table too.
Like, he should be raising all these hands like this, and then, you know, making a decision after whatever happens. But Vanessa can't really be light there. Right. I mean, Colman's has 50,000 chips.
Trying to make me split or what?
No, I had a legitimate.
Sorel Mizzi is in a spot right now where he wants to keep the shorties in. I mean, the shorties, the short stacks on the table, are handcuffing the medium stacks on the table, and that's letting Sorel go wild.
Yeah,
you know, Jeff Gross, Jason Koon, they can't do nothing with the short stacks on there.
Roll me.
Yeah. I mean, also, you know, I feel like Gross is out of position to Mizzi too, so he's kind of in a bad seat. So Mizzi's really has control over this table. I mean, both of those players that have medium stacks are directly out of position to Mizzi. I mean, so Mizzi's...
Yeah.
He's having fun.
He is. I mean, I think you're going to find in those spots where Mizzi's in late position, he's just going to be opening. You know, he should really be opening almost all of the hands when it gets folded to him. So Koon's in an interesting spot. I mean, he knows Mizzi's opening light. He kind of has a
17.
He has a pretty good hand here. He's in position. He might shove instead of 3-betting. If he does, okay, so he doesn't.
Seat 5 re-raise 40,000.
And you can only assume he's 3-betting to pass, right?
I guess, yeah. The problem, the reason why I don't like this play really is it really gives Mizzi the opportunity to shove. I mean, Mizzi's gonna look. Koon's got 200K. If I'm Mizzi with like 2 8s or ace jack, I'm probably just shipping it.
And in Jason's mind, he's saying to himself, "Well, this looks so strong that Sorel won't shove light because." I mean, that's what he's saying. Is that true?
I mean, I can't see Mizzi folding this. I mean, I think Mizzi's just gonna stick it in. Yeah.
Seat 1 re-raise all in.
So.
Fold.
Strong spot, and for Jason Koon, I think the problem is he's going to feel like Sorel had a strong hand, but he's not going to know for sure. And there is that doubt creeping in. You know, did Sorel just look me up and down and? You know,
I'm never a big fan of it's like these information raises. Koon, in my opinion, in that spot, he should either shove, or I like just calling in position in a spot where, I mean, he is definitely ahead of Mizzi's range, and he's in position with King Queen. You know, as it turns out, Mizzi had him dominated, but given that Mizzi's going to be playing a lot of hands, like Koon's got to like having a hand that strong against Mizzi in position.
There also was an argument for the fold, I guess. I mean, just sort of the idea that there's not that much to be gained by making a hand there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be lost by not making one.
That you got King Queen? Yeah. So
Sorel Mizzi has the highest V chip at the table, 35%, and Jason Koon the second highest. He's played a lot of hands tonight.
Wow, Mizzi defending with the King too. Off.
Hey, give me like 30% juice. I'm serious.
You want
30%?
Well, you call with King Deuce offsuit, you flop a pair, and backdoor spades. I guess you gotta. I guess you gotta call, right?
I mean, the overall game plan is not to pass ahead when you smash the flop like this.
No, I don't like Mizzi's call pre-flop. I think it's just time to move on. I mean, this is the same thing Koon started doing. Just because you have chips, it's like. Find your spots to put pressure on, you know? Well, I mean, if you're running like Sorel Mizzi today, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you really need to temper everything you say about Sorel with, but he is running like God today.
5,000, 10,000.
So I kind of like Mizzi's lead here. It's very suspicious because I mean, really Duhamel can't put him on a 2, and he's going to get a lot of checkbacks. But now he's getting value from a lot of checkback hands. Mizzi's really playing some of his big hands well here. He's getting his opponents to really pay him off.
Mentally, Duhamel, he did take the ace out of Mizzi's. There's just too many weird things.
Not too much of a hand.
For Mizzi to have an ace here. I mean, he could have 3-bet pre-flop. He probably would have check called, right? I mean, it just doesn't feel like Mizzi has an ace.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably thinks it. Now, see, now Duhamel definitely doesn't think Mizzi has an ace. It's possible maybe after the turn, but I don't think he would bet the river now with an ace.
Seat 1 bet 72,000.
He doesn't like it. And one of the funny things about Duhamel, I mean, he's got so many really great aspects to his poker game. I don't think the big laydowns on the river are part and parcel of like the best parts of his game, if you know what I mean.
King XX.
Wow.
And he just like called it off with jacks, like after I like fold stuff.
So I mean, in my opinion, that's definitely kind of like a field call, like you're saying. Like Mizzi's been playing a lot of pots, and I think he just feels like you know, Mizzi has a ton of chips and maybe he's trying to run me over. But from like just a isolated hand perspective, I mean, it's a very light call that doesn't have a whole lot of justification.
Sorel Mizzi is just absolutely tearing a rip in this table. He's just destroying these guys.
The Mizzinator.
You got me too.
Wow, here we go.
Just monkeyed then.
Gross opens with ace, king of spades. It's a very big hand.
Seat raise 22,000.
A lot of monkeying going on.
Yeah, and I mean, if Mizzi had really been feeling his... Oh, wow.
22.
There is no consideration here, right? It's too... She's unlucky to be in a race, but it's too big a hand.
I think so.
Because there are some really extreme things going on.
Well, the flip side, too, is that Selbst is the second lowest person in chips. So, I mean, when Colman goes out, she's next. And really getting 1 point's not good enough for her.
Right.
So she needs to, I mean, she
needs to get some chips.
She needs to get some chips. I mean, Queens, you know, wow. Holy mackerel.
That's amazing.
How much is it?
Call for less.
I'm not folding, I don't think. I'm just curious. See, Jason's got, now you got me all worried.
You should be
right,
worried.
there is going to be an interesting thing. Obviously, this works like a regular tournament, Brian, which is that the person with the lowest number of chips, if Gross beats both of these players, then it is Colman who will get 7th place and Vanessa who will get 6th. Type of thing.
Wow. Is this for real?
King, please.
Wow, that's so sick.
Ace, I want an ace.
What the hell is going on?
What do you mean?
If ace king wins, I'm out. If there's a king, I get 7th again.
Yeah, but I'm
She's
saying.
sick.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what Vanessa said. If there's a king on the board, Vanessa could end up getting 7th
I
here.
can't fold.
So I guess they're going to deal this and sort out the side pots later, but essentially there is a side pot between Vanessa and Jeff Gross, and a king on the board would really destroy Vanessa Selbst's Premier League hopes.
3 of spades, Vanessa. It's no fun without a sweat.
An ace is bad, obviously. No, an ace would destroy her too.
I knew it. Right,
I mean, she's never going to win many chips from this pot because Colman's going to be taking 56K out. So.
Who has a diamond?
Anything but an ace or king.
All right.
And it's really...
You
know,
my first card is an ace.
Mizzi's probably pretty happy with that.
What do you do with ace queen there? I mean, you have to call, obviously.
So, after an incredible hand, most of the table are pretty evenly stacked. However, the standout player is Sorel Mizzi, who now has over half the chips in play. As one of the Premier League newbies, he is certainly making his mark, along with the likes of Jeff Gross, who won the first heat, and Jason Koon, who took down heat 2. And it looks like we will see another new face take a win here at the Playground Poker Club tonight.
I'm a sicko. I love the banter so much.
It's like unreal. This is like ridiculous. You've got all the tricks. Gotta keep you guessing over there a little.
You brought the monkey out in me because you're such a monkey.
Welcome back to the Playground Poker Club in Montreal, Canada. Heat 3 is underway, and so far, Premier League newcomer Sorel Mizzi is owning the table.
This is a good run out for me. When it rains, it pours for the Miz.
The players have taken a break. Behind the scenes, it's all lighthearted banter, and Jason Koon shows off his brawn.
Oh boy. Oh boy. He's really not that heavy. You gotta get deep with it. Oh, it is easy. Get down. 3? That's all you got? That's what I said. I said I was gonna do 3. Oh, okay.
7 players left, and 6 of them are not Sorel Mizzi. The one player knocked out of this heat, Phil Locke, joins Brian Rast and myself now. And Phil, I know how much you would love to be down there, but can you appreciate what's going on down there right now? It's madness.
Yep, it is, and it's killing me about some of those hands. Yeah, the chop with the ace-queen and the queens, and if you're gonna go first out later with some strategy, just go first out with queens versus ace-king with some dead money, and a pair and 50-something%.
But I mean, Brian, Sorel Mizzi has over 100 big blinds. The second largest stack has 22. So this is pretty extreme.
All in.
It is nuts. We've never in so many premier shows ever had 7 players, one guy with 1.3 million, and everyone else with 200, 200. Like, this is just nuts. I've never seen it.
Dan Colman straight on the all-in. Blinds now 6 and 12,000, and this is
all in call.
Wow.
Button big blind. Do you think this is a loose call here?
I think this is a bad call. I don't see why Duhamel needs to call this with the ace-3.
All my nights when Henderson goes this year, me and all my friends, ace-3 always sucks out. Like we played like 50,000 Henderson goes. It's always sucked out.
I'm rooting for anything but a chop. Oh my god.
Now it's, this is probably going to be a chop pot.
He doesn't deserve it, does he?
I wouldn't be mad with like 10 of clubs. I'm definitely, I feel good about this flop, you know? I don't have to sweat it, but.
It could happen.
I feel good about this flop,
That's
bro.
not a very choppy turn. That is not a choppy turn.
Anything higher than an 8, I guess.
This is a chop. Boom, no chop.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, Duhamel's done it to himself.
I feel like, honestly, it doesn't seem like the players are really adjusting to the Premier League structure. You know, and they're not really thinking about it. I mean, Duhamel's thinking, oh, you know, what do I call against a button shove who has 10 big blinds when I'm in the big blind with 18 big blinds? And like, it's a reasonable call, but if you factor in like the Premier League and the point system and everything, and you know how many chips Mizzi has, and sort of the relative difference that it'll make for Duhamel.
And so the idea here for all these players is it's okay to be the first to enter a pot as long as you shove. Being the second to enter a pot or calling off your stack is something you really have to think about. Is that a good thing to think? Is that a good rule of thumb? Yep.
I mean, because when you're calling off your stack, 100% you have to make the best hand by the river to stay in, because it's your stack. So now this is interesting. Mizzi's going to open, and let's see what.
That is 24,000.
See what happens.
24,000.
Dan
all in.
shoves.
Wow.
2 6s.
And well, this is clearly a fold for Colman.
Fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Shak may be not that it's not a good hand. I wonder if he feels like he's got fold equity here.
I think he does. I think he feels like, you know, Sorel's going to be opening pots wide. Now, interestingly enough, we've seen Sorel's not opening pots as wide as, you know, we might have expected.
I don't know what you're shoving here, Shak. I have no idea. Like, it could be anything.
You gotta figure it out.
I'm trying to figure it out. It's hard, you know. Like,
I mean, Mizzi kind of has the chips to call here if he feels like it. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
I would call. I think it's a call, and the reason why is because Shak can have a pair of 8s, 9s, 10s. You know,
See,
ace king, you're scared. King, queen, you're scared. It's not the range of, and it doesn't kill him if he's wrong.
Yeah.
And if it turns out to be a race, it's just so good. I don't know.
It's
not that bad, by the way, because the other thing is he can keep picking at everyone because they're all within that bandwidth. So from a strategic point, you could fold even a stronger hand. Because maybe you just want to scrape a little bit off them all while they're competing without ever killing any of them. Just, you know?
I mean, another question is, would you have shoved there with 6s if you were Shak? I would have folded, and I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong. What would you have done?
What did they
I don't know.
I
mean, you would have shoved?
I would have shoved and hope he has ace 4 and folds.
I play with him in the first.
Oh, there we go. Finally got folded to Duhamel.
Fold.
He can.
Was anyone on a line? Like, was there any?
Seat 6, your card's on the scanner.
300,000.
Well, it's gone completely perfect. I mean, it's Dan Shak in the big blind.
30,000.
Good fold.
Fold.
Good luck, buddy. No shame in folding, Dan. I'll get you a beer if you fold. Bribery? Fold it.
I got no choice.
Okay. If we fold it, I was going to punish
Yeah, I might quit. I might observe that. All right, good luck, John.
This is where poker gets fun.
Yeah, buddy.
Good luck, Jonathan.
The whole table
no one's rooting for you.
I'm sure, huh?
All right. That's a fun flop.
That's interesting.
Wow.
4, 7, double gutter, 5, 7.
Over cards.
8 of hearts just
8 of hearts. That doesn't hit.
Wow. Oh, there's the overcard. Duhamel needs an ace or a 3, right? I mean,
nope.
Didn't happen.
And that is really has huge implications as far as the Premier League leaderboard goes. Of course, Duhamel had a fantastic first heat, taking 9 points. Just the 1 for the second heat leaves him with 10 through 2. Vanessa Selbst is now the short stack with 111,000 chips, whereas at the other end of the leaderboard, Mizzi is well out in front with 1.2 million. And Duhamel is left to wonder what went wrong today.
After 2 heats of play for Jonathan, that makes 10 points going forward. Obviously not what you were hoping for, but this seemed like a really strange heat, the way it was playing out. Was it frustrating to be on the table?
Yeah, it was a little weird because Sorel has all the chips, so all the other ones are pretty short stack. So at that point, you really just want the other guy to get eliminated. There was one big hand where Dan shoved all in for like maybe 12 big blinds. I called with ace-3, which is pretty close, but I thought it would be shoving a lot of hands, so that's why I decided to call. Not sure it was good though. Didn't get there. So yeah, out in 7th place, it's not too good, but you know, there's 2 more heats, so just looking back to get out there and try to win one.
Assumptions and I don't know, it's just, you have to see like 100,000 hands to really get it.
Full.
Wow.
All you can eat?
All in?
All in.
Yep. I mean, that hand's just too good.
That super plays itself, yeah. See if anyone wakes up with a hand. Half a hand. Mizzi has half a hand.
Whoa.
Mizzi has the full hand.
Hello.
I was going to do it for
This
you.
will end up being great news for Vanessa Selbst.
That's 70. 129.
Boy, it's fun to take a cool drink of water.
Yeah,
with
when you know you're about to
1.2 million.
You know you're about to snap someone off here. You're like, oh,
Raise all in.
Feel pretty good.
I fold.
How good, Sorel?
I fold regardless.
People always ask, what's the best brand of bottled water? That right there, that was the best tasting bottled water there is.
It's true.
He's still going. Let's see how much water he drinks if the flop comes out like King 3-2. Let's see if he goes back for that water.
Can he do it?
I've seen King Queen win a lot against Ace Queen on Party Poker, so I think you got a good chance here.
Let's see. I like that turn of hearts.
It's part of, it's 1/3 of a royal flush right there.
1/3.
That's what they call that.
Except nobody on the table is hoping for that, other than Jason Koon.
Right there.
Jason needs a king exactly and nothing else to dig himself out of this.
King ball.
7 ball.
Good game, Jim.
Mizinator waking up with Ace Queen at such the time. Wow.
It has not been his best day on the felt here at the Premier League for Jason Koon. He will take 3 points though, and 20 points through 3 heats is really bang on average when you think about it. Probably actually well above average as far as the leaderboard goes.
What are the points? It's 14, 11.
Yeah, 20 points after 3 heats. I mean, with all the people that are low on points right now, he's doing very solid. I mean, he's pretty much locked up at least making the heads up. So, I mean, JG has also slid his way up. Jeff is doing really well. Jeff is already guaranteed 19 points, and he's only played 2 matches. So he's going to be the lead. He'll be the leader essentially.
And you don't have to pay. You have the option to do it, but you don't have to pay. Isn't that beautiful?
Vanessa, now she's got all her chips in. I mean, it's like
bad news.
Multiple sweat. Everyone, Mizzi wants everyone in there. Look at Selbst. She's going to see it at the same time.
The first one matters.
First one matters.
What is Queen? Okay, hold on. How much do you have now? I need to see.
105, 103.
Don't torture her, just come on.
Ooh, I called.
God, yes. I was looking at Vanessa's face because you just knew.
Right. That was a lot of fun until that happened.
She wanted to sweat it. I wasn't torturing her. I was just fulfilling her request.
Sorel.
I have to be honest. I am cheering for Mizzi so hard right now. Oh, okay, there we go. Good flop. It's
Terabad flop.
And Mizzi is just going to do it after he wins this hand.
Just in case, made the straight on the river. And for Vanessa Selbst, 6 point through 2 heats. She's still going to be a factor, and she is going to have to adjust her tactics coming back. We'll need to get some points sooner or later.
hard to get 1 queen, and then to get 2.
7 points.
I'm lucky that I don't have like 1 or 2 points. I have 6. Gives me a nice foundation. I feel really confident and comfortable in my game. I just need to start catching some, like, you know, anything. I'm really excited to get in there and play, but I don't want to force the issue because that's, I think, what got me in trouble in the past. So I'm just going to try to be patient and wait for my spots, and hopefully they'll come.
Okay, well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We are now 4-handed, and it has really turned out to be Sorel Mizzi's day. He looks in great shape to take down this heat. Dan Colman, Dan Shak, and Jeff Gross are all clinging on, however, and nothing is ever certain in this game. Just a couple of double-ups could see any one of these players giving Mizzi a run for his money.
This is Premier League poker at its best. Join us next time here in Montreal when final points are decided for Heat 3 as we reach the halfway point of the league stages here at the Playground Poker Club.
Mizzi, I'm a podium kind of guy. I'm not a 4th place kind of guy.
That's running so bad today.
I got big plans here.
You never know what that smile means.
Nicely done, Jeff. Nicely done.
I'm a sicko. I need a sweat.
Ooh. This is not normal poker. This is like fun, style, points, like this and that.